Video appears to show people looting stopped trucks and burning the contents on the freeway. Earlier, protesters clashed with police. Authorities say at least 12 officers were hurt and that some marked police cars were destroyed. Police used tear gas to break up the crowd.
There's parts of me you don't know. Words I wrote but haven't spoke. I'm just an ox without a yoke. Out of stroke, don't know how to flow. Got ADD off Adderall. My PTSD done evolved. Paranoia setting in while sweat's dripping down my underarms. Off assorted Ciroc bottles, aka that puffy juice. They just stole my grandpa's land, then allotted it for private use. Cops looking at my black skin, looking at my black Timbs, matching with the black brim. Damn, they don't like these black kids. Look what they did to Trayvon. Look what they did to Sandra Bland. Look what they did to Mike Brown. Now Sterling and Philando. Damn, we call it beef. They call it burgers. They call it justice. We call it murder. 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 We call it beef. They call it burgers. They call it justice. We call it murder. 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 I just watched Roots with my daughter. That was something different. And judging by the questions posed, lets me know she's listening. She let me know she's pissed at this. That 12-year-old was just a kid, but stereotypes and stigmas and a plastic pistol done got him killed. For safety, they're surveilling. But who were they surveilling? Contrary to the footage, they said the suspect was a black assailant. Homie was a daily patron, but that's not what they said on paper. Post-mortem with a court order, it's clear it was an act of hatred. What we found was something sacred, unity and black pride. You spending money on Black Friday while I strive to save these black lives. We call it beef, they call it burgers. They call it justice, we call it murder. 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 We call it beef. They call it burgers. They call it justice. We call it murder. 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 We call it murder.